Joe Biden, the last US president, has stated at least twice that the US would militarily defend Taiwan against China.
Are you willing to get involved militarily to defend Taiwan if it comes to that?
Yes.
You are.
That's the commitment we made.
Trump, during his first term, proudly accepted a phone call from Taiwan's president of the time, which was widely interpreted as a significant move. Generally, a war between China and the US is becoming increasingly more likely, though it is not certain. But if it happens, it will be because of Taiwan. But why? The US doesn't even recognize Taiwan as a sovereign state, and yet they might fight for it? The reasons for it are in the fields of economy, military, and geopolitics. All of them are explained in this video. Surfshark VPN is sponsoring this channel for this month. If you want to bypass geo-blocking or hide your internet activity all with a convenient app, then use Surfshark VPN for just $2.09 a month by using my link. You get 4 months extra as well. Thank you, Surfshark, for sponsoring this channel. Taiwan, officially the Republic of China, has been the home for the defeated nationalists since 1949 when they lost the Chinese Civil War. In the Civil War, which had paused during the Japanese invasion between 1937 to 1945, the Communists won after being supported by the Soviets. The defeated nationalists, led by Chiang Kai-shek, retreated to the island. Taiwan had just been handed over to them in 1945 after Japan was defeated, which itself had seized it during the First Sino-Japanese War of 1895. In 1683, the island was annexed by China. Before that, it was under Portuguese rule, who found it sparsely populated and not under Chinese control. Hence the name Formosa and Formosa Strait, derived from the Portuguese word Formosa, meaning beautiful. Since the Civil War, both sides have adhered to the One China principle. Both claim to represent all of China, including the mainland and the island. Until Taiwan's derecognization, this meant that a reconquest of the mainland by Chiang Kai-shek was seen as possible and justified. When the US shifted recognition to the People's Republic of China, most other countries followed suit. Taiwan, as a result, was no longer recognized as a sovereign state by the majority of other nations. However, it still maintains quasi-diplomatic relations with many countries, including Germany and the United States. One might simply say it was a part of China, so why shouldn't it be again? But that's not all. The US doesn't even recognize Taiwan as a separate state, but still they want to fight over the island. But why? The most well-known reason are in the economic field. Taiwan's chip industry is not just a market leader, but it dominates the global market. There's hardly any high-end chip that does not come from the island. Allowing the Chinese Communist Party to control it would be catastrophic. China could then blackmail the rest of the world to act suit, or they wouldn't receive any more high-end chips. However, an invasion could also destroy the industry itself, which would cripple the global economy. Much of the world's trade passes through the Taiwan Strait as well. So all the trade from Europe to China, South Korea, Taiwan itself, obviously, and to Japan. So fighting in the Taiwan Strait would also be devastating for the rest of the world. In times of high political polarization, understanding the position of the other side is essential in order to see the topic comprehensively illuminated. That's why I use Ground News. It has a great blind spot feature that shows me here, for example, that Putin is complaining that the Soviet role in the liberation of the death camps is being ignored. Here we can see that his statement has been completely ignored by left-wing media. If I only consumed left-wing media, I would have never noticed this. Ground News is a news aggregator that clearly highlights how differently left and right-leaning outlets report on the same event. It not only helps me by allowing me to set notifications for specific topics and prepare better for situation reports, but also by giving me a multi-sided view of topics, ensuring I don't stay confined to an echo chamber. This is specifically important today. Ground News is now offering my viewers a 40% discount on the Vantage plan, which I personally use for unlimited access. Simply visit ground.news/military history or scan the QR code to subscribe to Ground News. By doing so, you also support this channel. The second reasons are in the fields of military. Taiwan is the part of the first island chain. It's basically the center of it, the anchor around which the island chains are building itself. It controls access to China and China's access to the world. With the first island chain, trade routes can be cut off, surface ships can be blocked from entering the wide ocean from China itself, and even submarines can be detected thanks to sensors that can be placed in those islands and helicopters based on the islands. Additionally, SAM, surface-to-air missiles, could intercept cruise missiles and aircraft being launched from the mainland. The island itself could also serve as a base for anti-ship missiles and cruise missiles. If Taiwan falls, though, China will gain significant access to the world's oceans that won't be that easy to intercept anymore. They could also station all those capabilities we just mentioned on Taiwan itself and utilize the Luzon Strait to access the Blue Ocean. The last reasons are political. Taiwan itself presents a democratic alternative. It proves that China can also be democratic. It shows the mainland's population and the world's that gulags, that re-education camps, that a dictatorship is not necessary for a Chinese population to live and work in peace and harmony. For the US, there's also the question about the Melian dialogue. The Greek historian Thucydides described in his book The History of the Peloponnesian War. During its war with Sparta, Athens demanded from neutral Milos that it joins the Delian League, its military alliance against Sparta. Milos argued it was neutral, it had good relations with both sides, it liked both Sparta and Athens, and it wishes to maintain them. Athens replied, no, neutrality would make us appear weak. It basically demanded submission or annihilation. Milos decided to leave its fate in the hands of the gods and resisted. They hoped that either the gods would help them because they had a just cause, or that maybe the Spartans would somehow help them. They were defeated. All adult men were killed, and the women and children were sold into slavery. The city was then resettled by 500 Athenians to even wipe out all traces of Milos. Although Sparta later returned the survivors to the city after they won the Peloponnesian War, the story has become a proverb. A dominant power says submission or death to a weaker entity abandoned by its allies. If the US abandons Taiwan, every nation in Southeast Asia will wonder, will they abandon us too? China is dominant in the region. Without the US, no one can resist. China could then coerce one US ally after the other, presenting them each with their own Melian dialogue. Without trust in the US, countries would start aligning with China if the only alternative is destruction, as they don't trust the US to continue fighting for them. The US must therefore fight for Taiwan if they want to retain allies like the Philippines, Indonesia, Singapore, and likely even South Korea and Australia. Otherwise, those allies might think the US abandoned Taiwan, they might abandon us as well. These are the three main reasons the US would risk war over Taiwan. Can you think of any others? Let me know in the comments. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, it helps with the algorithm, and if you're new here, I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. This channel is only possible because of the support of viewers like you. If you like to support the channel, you can do so by the means in the description, but that's it from me for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back.